Hey, it's Catawolf, and today we're building this copper golem multi-item sorter from Minecraft. This is perfect for an early game automatic storage system, and for many people will be the only storage they need. This will work on all versions of Minecraft, including Bedrock and Java, and will work on PC, mobile, and console wherever you play. Each column can sort up to 53 items, so you can sort 477 individual items per module, but I'll show you how to set it up if you only want a few per column. This design is modular, meaning you can hook up multiple modules together so everything is laid out exactly how you would like. Here's everything you need to build one module. The lights are to represent that you could use solid lights of one of these variations, any of the colors of frog lights, to light up your storage as part of the build, but that's not necessary. For each module, you'll need an area that is 11 wide, 7 deep, and 6 tall. So if you're stacking multiple modules together, you'll need 11 wide for each one. So if this is going to be the front of the build, let's come to the back corner and go diagonally in by 1, and we want 9 of these. So you should have one block on either side, face the front, and we put a repeater on each of these. Temporary block with a block there, and so we got a block behind each of these, and then temporary block, and we want to put a block in front of each of these. Jump up on top, and then we're going to put blocks on both of these, and we crouch and put a third one here. For this last one, you can put a solid block on top here, but I like to put frog lights or jack-o'-lanterns or shroom lights. Can't use sea lanterns and you can't use glowstone because those aren't solid lights. So then we put comparators facing away from all of these, and then we put redstone dust on all of these exposed blocks down here. Finally, let's put 2 solid blocks up on top of these. So it would be 3 solid blocks if you weren't using light. And so you end up with something like this. Grab your redstone torch and put a torch on each of these. And now time to do all our chests. So grab your chests and we want to come to this block and we're going to put all our chests along here so that it lines up with all of these. We'll go up 2 more. So you want to crouch and go up 2 more like this. And then we want to put double chests like this. These are going to be our filter chests. Grab your glass and we're going to crouch and place it on top of the chests like so. Do one more layer on top so that we have 2 layers of glass. Put a temporary block here so that we can put a block of copper here, and then a couple more temporary blocks just so that when we build the copper golem, it's not gonna run off immediately. Come to the far side, put 2 temporary blocks out, and then if you're building another module immediately after, we want to put a copper block there so that it's the start like that. Otherwise, we'll just put a chest there, and this will be for the overflow of any items that aren't picked up by the copper golems. I'm going to crouch and put a hopper in there, jump up, crouch, and put a chest on top. So what's going to happen, the copper golem is going to pick up items from his chest here, sort through all the items there, and at the end of it, he will dump everything into this chest. So the last step is to put the copper golem on there. Then come down here and kind of knock him off. And we want to put a piece of glass on top of there. And we can get rid of these. They're not necessary anymore. Can also get rid of that temporary block and the temporary blocks under there. So the last thing we need to do is to come behind and put hoppers into all of these chests. So we just come behind, crouch, and place the hoppers. If we look at the chests and place the hoppers, then they'll be pointing into the chests like that. You don't want them to look like that. Make sure that they're pointing into the chests until they all look like this and all the hoppers are done. System is done, we just need to put in our filters. So to set up the filters, you'll need 4 stacks of an item. I recommend just using something like sticks, something that you've got a ton of just lying around. So we'll basically need 4 stacks for each of these chests. So we do 1, 2, 3, and then we have 5 items there, and then a single item in each of the rest of these slots. except for the first one. So you'll end up with 10 left over. So this is the configuration that you want. So to show how this works, we've got a double chest here, nothing in here, comparator, and then we've got the redstone here, and the lamps tell us what the signal strength is. So if this one's lit up, it's signal strength 1, 2, 3, etc. So if I position it this way so you can see these lamps here, if I put a single item in, one lamp gets lit up. We can put 1, 2, 3 stacks in, still only one gets lit up. We can put an additional 54 items in and still only one is lit up. If we put one more item in, it goes to signal strength of 2. Now what that's doing here, you can see the redstone is exactly the same here. We've got 1 and 2. This is basically just a slice of this, just for demonstration purposes. So if we take our 1, 2, 3 and 54 in there, see this only lights up the first one. Let me take this away for demonstration. If we add one more item in, it lights this second one up. Now let me show you what else happens. So keep an eye on this repeater and this torch. So this dust is on, this dust is not on, the repeater's off, and the torch is on. So if we put one more item in here, then this dust is on, the repeater is on, the torch is off. See, this repeater is pushing a redstone signal through this block, which turns this torch off. Now, this torch is now, it's turned off this block here. You see, if we don't have it there, this torch turns on this block, which lights this. What that does for us, if this block has a redstone signal to it, it's actually locking this hopper. This torch is also locking this hopper, which is why nothing is flowing through from here. But if I put this chest in, torch turns off, briefly, just unlocks long enough to allow the chest to go down, and it's in here because it was locked before. So if we put one more item in there, it's going to flow down, the chest will be in there, hopper will be there. Now it doesn't just have to be single items. We put multiple items in there. See, that torch is off, that repeater's on, while this is flowing through. And everything's flowing through because these hoppers have been unlocked because of this torch. And it stops there, so it doesn't drain anything else out. Now how does that fit our pattern? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because that's 3 stacks and 54. So even in this configuration, we put it in there, and it all drains out, and when it's done, the repeater turns off, the torch turns on, the hoppers get locked, and it all works nicely. So then let's say you want this first slice to be all your oak items. So you would just come in here, let's say we put logs, slabs and planks. It doesn't matter as long as they stack to 64. This will all work. And then we take 5. And then for each of the rest of these, we just want 1 of each. And this is perfect. I've miscalculated how many I needed, and I'll just show you. You can either put that there, or you could literally just have 2 slots with the same thing. It doesn't matter. Anything that is in this chest, this golem, when he picks it up from there, he's going to see it and he's going to drop it in here. So for example, if you put sticks through, he's going to put sticks into this chest here. So if you don't want that to happen, literally just grab the sticks, and then with one of your other blocks, just fill them with another oak block that you're going to have sorted through here. So then anything that is in here, he's gonna check, gonna see it, and then he's going to put it into this chest. So the copper golem will check whether there's anything in a copper chest, and then he'll check 10 chests around him to see whether there is any items in there. If he finds a match, he'll try and put the item into that chest. But he will keep checking if he doesn't find a match, he'll just keep checking the rest of the chests. So we have 9 slices with this one up high to make sure that this is the last one that he checks. So then that flows through to here, which is either the overflow. So if he doesn't match anything in any of these filter chests, it's going to end up in the overflow. Or if we build another module of this, this is going to be the next copper golem's chest. So we'd have a glass block on there like that, stop him getting out. So let's see it in action. Let's put some items in here that we know should end up down here. Now special note for this first one, because he's so quick at going from the chest to this chest, move them further back so that you've got a couple of extra spaces in here, just so that everything clears out. Generally, I prefer to do it this way. That way, you know, it'll only be a couple of items, but if you can't find an open slot, I've found sometimes he'll walk past and sometimes it will get pushed down into a deeper spot in the chest, neither of which are options that we want. But that's only going to be an issue for the first slice. So now that you've built this basic copper golem sorter, you can either add on additional modules, and to do so, you would just put your copper block here, and then your next set of chests, there's going to be a 2-block gap from there. And so you're going to do another 9 there. You could use hoppers to turn it around and build it in this direction so that you have kind of like a 3-walled setup. So you'd end up with something like this. And then you could turn it around and have more coming down this way. But the rest is up to you. How are you going to use this copper golem multi-item sorter?